What's up, everyone? So I was watching NBA Today on ESPN earlier, and Malika Andrews, along with the entire panel, had this absolutely electrifying segment breaking down how the New York Knicks are now 1-1-0 after stunning the Cleveland Cavaliers 119-111 in their season opener. Malika made the lighthearted point that you can't go 82-0 if you don't first go 1-0. But seriously, the crew was genuinely fired up about the way the Knicks played on primetime television, beating what everyone considers a legitimate top team in the Eastern Conference without two major impact players in Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson. The NBA Today panel had an enormous amount to discuss following that impressive victory, and they were really pumped about what they witnessed. Malika thought that Mike Brown coached a genuinely excellent game in his debut and pushed all the right buttons throughout those crucial 48 minutes. Things that immediately stuck out to the analysts is that the New York Knicks played 11 different players in this game, and 9 different players ended up logging minutes in the first quarter alone. That's something you're absolutely going to see is dramatically different from the way the Knicks played basketball under Tom Thibodeau's coaching philosophy and rotation management. All right, everybody, listen up for just a second before we break down this insane Knicks situation. I need your help with something super simple that makes a massive impact. See that like button? That's basically your vote saying, yeah, I want more of this content. And here's the thing, YouTube's algorithm lives and dies by those likes. The more likes this gets, the more Knicks fans get to see this breakdown, the bigger this community grows. So do me a solid right now. Hit that like button before we go any further. 1 click, 1 second, but it genuinely keeps this whole thing going. The panel wasn't trying to take any shots at Thibs because they respect what he accomplished with this organization, but this is just a fundamentally different team now under new leadership. The Knicks are playing a completely different brand of basketball, and they're going to utilize their roster depth in entirely different ways than before. That's one of the primary reasons Mike Brown was brought into New York, to maximize the offensive potential while also reaching deeper into the bench and trusting more players to contribute meaningful minutes. Malika said she genuinely can't remember many games where the Knicks won in quite the fashion they did against Cleveland, where they dominated for approximately 40 out of 48 minutes, but still only won by 8 points in the end. The fascinating part, according to the NBA Today crew, is that Jalen Brunson wasn't really all that impressive statistically. Brunson got to the free throw line and was extremely efficient when he did convert those attempts, but he shot just 5 for 18 from the field overall, and an absolutely brutal 1 for 9 from three-point range. Brunson objectively didn't play well, and his shots weren't falling at all, but he still maintained complete control of the game's pace and made winning plays. The thing that stuck out most to the panel was witnessing what they're calling the Deuce McBride leap year. It's officially here for this Knicks team, and it's real. McBride finished with 15 points, going 4 for 7 from the field, and an outstanding 4 for 6 from three-point range, which is elite efficiency. He had a couple of phenomenal defensive plays down the stretch, including diving on the floor for a critical loose ball that led to a run-out transition dunk for OG Anunoby. If Deuce McBride is able to play consistently at this elevated level, which admittedly is tough to sustain over 82 games, but if he can do it, he takes the ceiling of this Knicks team to a completely different stratosphere of championship contention. The NBA Today analysts also got to see that 5-out offensive spacing lineup that many have been craving and advocating for. It featured Jalen Brunson, Miles McBride, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Karl Anthony Towns all on the floor together. Those 5 players closed the game for the New York Knicks, and the panel saw exactly what that spacing-heavy lineup can accomplish offensively when everyone's a legitimate threat. Malika kept going back to the absolute dagger three-pointer that OG Anunoby hit from that right corner to essentially seal the victory. The floor was completely spaced, with all 5 players being genuine three-point shooting threats, so Cavaliers defenders couldn't help off anyone without consequences. Brunson and Towns ran a beautiful pick-and-roll action where Brunson kept his defender on his back hip with excellent ball handling and body control. That left 4 Knicks players attacking just 3 Cavaliers defenders in a numbers advantage situation. Brunson drove hard into the paint-drawing help defense and kicked the ball out perfectly to the corner, finding OG, who absolutely banged home the three-pointer from the right corner to give the Knicks the cushion they desperately needed. But here's what the NBA Today crew really wanted to emphasize. OG Anunoby was absolutely sensational throughout this entire game and actually tied his career high in a performance that looked like genuine all-star level basketball. OG grabbed 14 rebounds and was all over the glass on both ends, playing physically big for this team. He recorded 3 steals and had a blocked shot as well. So that's 4 combined stocks defensively, which is elite two-way production. The panel thought OG was genuinely excellent on the defensive side of the ball and was constantly running hard in transition to push the pace. Anunoby took 17 shots, going 4 for 9 from three-point range, showing his improved outside shooting. OG did miss some critical free throws in the fourth quarter, which gave some fans PTSD flashbacks to previous playoff struggle. But overall, you genuinely cannot ask for more than what Anunoby provided in this season opener. OG was great in the second half, and really solid for the entire 48 minutes. This was an all-star caliber performance from a player the Knicks are counting on to be that third star alongside Brunson and Towns. Mikal Bridges was absolutely awesome in the first half, according to the breakdown. Bridges scored 12 points in just the first 2 quarters and looked extremely aggressive and confident with the basketball. He was actively hunting his shot opportunities, making shots at a high clip, running hard in transition, and attacking the rim with purpose and conviction. The analysts were really excited by how the big-money, high-paid players for the Knicks all showed up when it mattered most. Karl-Anthony Towns even toughed out what's now being called a Grade 2 hamstring strain, which is legitimately concerning for his long-term health outlook. Ian Begley reported that Karl-Anthony Towns is dealing with a Grade 2 hamstring strain, but Towns said it was extremely important for him to play through the injury and not disappoint the passionate home fans and his new teammate on opening night. Towns finished with 19 points and 11 rebounds, while clearly battling through significant discomfort. He shot just 41% from the field and didn't shoot particularly well from three-point range, but he had a couple of huge and won buckets in crucial moments that energized the crowd. Towns also recorded a steal on the defensive end. The NBA Today panel liked what they saw from the big man considering the circumstances and pain he was playing through. The Knicks won this game without Josh Hart, who's one of their most versatile and valuable players. They won without Mitchell Robinson, who's their starting center and primary rim protector. The analysts acknowledged that the Cavaliers were also missing some rotation players, but it was still genuinely exciting to see New York execute at this level with key pieces unavailable. Malika thought Mike Brown coached his absolute tail off in his highly anticipated debut. The crew wanted to discuss more extensively Mike Brown's coaching decisions throughout the game, and they had to talk about Tyler Kolek's surprisingly significant role and analyze how the entire bench unit performed. One of the major takeaways for the NBA Today panel coming out of this game wasn't just that Tyler Kolek played and logged 13 minutes. It's that Kolek actually played some genuine crunch time minutes in important stretches and played a really solid overall basketball game. Kolek finished with 2 assists and 0 turnovers while going 3 for 6 from the field, which is quality efficiency. It almost seemed like Kolek was actively hunting his shot and putting pressure on the rim with his penetration. The crew thought he did an excellent job of stabilizing the offense and maintaining ball movement during the stretches when Jalen Brunson sat down to rest. One of the concerns the panel had about this Knicks team heading into the season was that backup point guard spot, especially after Malcolm Brogdon unexpectedly retired from professional basketball. They don't really have tremendous trust in Jordan Clarkson to consistently run the offense effectively in that backup facilitator role. But if Tyler Kolek can give the Knicks more performances similar to what he provided in Game 1, that's going to be an absolutely huge plus for this team's overall depth Kolek played the way he did, Miles McBride elevated his game significantly, and even Landry Shamet was genuinely really productive in limited minutes, going 2 for 3 from downtown. The analysts know Shamet got targeted defensively and exploited a little bit by Donovan Mitchell's elite scoring ability, but Shamet competed hard and made Mitchell take some tough contested shots. That's really all you can ask from Shamet, given his well-known defensive limitation. The Knicks bench today was really impressive and contributed significantly to the victory. That's such a different vibe and completely different overall style of play and rotation management than what everyone saw under the previous coaching staff. Breaking down the bench scoring production, you got 4 points from Jordan Clarkson, 7 from Tyler Kolek, which combines for 11, then 9 more from Landry Shamet brings it to 20, and then 15 from Deuce McBride. That's 35-plus points off the bench from this New York Knicks team in a single season-opening game. The panel noted you didn't even really get any offensive production from Guerschon Yabusele, who only managed 4 points. The Knicks know their big-name starters can score at elite level. That's what those highly paid guys do consistently. But if New York is going to have a bench unit that can score in the fashion they did against Cleveland, that makes this team exponentially more dynamic and dangerous as a championship contender. Malika thought Mike Brown pushed all the right buttons with his substitution patterns and rotations. The lineups made strategic sense, and the overall minutes were kept relatively low for the starters, which is absolutely huge for managing an 82-game regular season grind. It was an exciting victory overall for this organization. One of the things that really popped off the page to the NBA Today crew was that Ariel Hukporti looked genuinely solid in the limited action he received, filling in for the injured Mitchell Robinson. The Knicks also deployed Trey Jemison, who showed some promising signs on the defensive side of the floor with his rim protection and rebounding instincts. Overall, the shot selection and shot diet for the New York Knicks was absolutely fantastic from an analytical efficiency standpoint. The Knicks attempted 40 three-pointers in this game. If they had taken 42 three-point attempts, that would have ranked second in the entire NBA last season in attempts per game. Taking 43s would have been the 5th most three-point attempts of any team per game last year. The Knicks only made them at a 35% clip overall, but Jalen Brunson going 1 for 9 from deep really dragged that team percentage down significantly. If you remove Brunson's terrible shooting night from the equation, the rest of the team went 13 for 31 from three-point range, which is almost 42% efficiency. Jalen Brunson isn't a 1 for 9 three-point shooter. He's going to knock down open shots at a much higher rate moving forward throughout the season. Things the panel didn't really love from New York's defensive performance was the way the Knicks defended the three-point ball overall. Cleveland hoisted 46 three-point attempts and made 19 of them, which is over 41% shooting from beyond the arc. That third quarter was really fueled by the Cavaliers' ability to knock down threes at a high volume, with Donovan Mitchell getting extremely hot from downtown and taking over that period with his elite scoring. Mitchell had 18-plus points just in that third quarter alone and single-handedly kept Cleveland in the game. The Cavaliers have legitimate shooters all over their roster who can knock down open looks when given space. Sam Merrill had 19 points in this game, connecting on multiple three-pointers as a role player. Evan Mobley shot the ball exceptionally well, going 4 for 8 from three-point range, which is well above his normal shooting percentages and quite surprising. Larry Nance Jr. ended up making 2 threes as well from the corner. So the Cavaliers had a lot of different players hitting shots, and the NBA Today crew gave Cleveland credit for making tough contested shots, but they also thought the Knicks defense gave up some unnecessarily easy looks from three-point range that can't happen in playoff basketball. Considering the Knicks didn't have Mitchell Robinson available as their primary rim protector and defensive anchor, Malika thought New York did a pretty solid job of neutralizing Jarrett Allen offensively, which is genuinely no easy task given Allen's size and finishing ability. There's a lot to be genuinely pumped about coming out of this season-opening statement victory. The NBA Today panel is fired up about this Knicks team and their championship potential. New York is 1-0 in the Mike Brown era, and everyone should be excited about what that first performance demonstrated about this team's depth and versatility. Nothing but positive vibes and good news coming out of this victory. The minutes were kept manageable. A lot of different players got legitimate rotation opportunities. The Knicks won the game decisively, and they pretty much dominated Cleveland for most of the 48 minutes. There was about a 7-minute stretch in the third quarter where the Knicks let their foot off the gas and allowed Cleveland back in the game. But overall, New York played really disciplined and well-coached basketball. Karl Anthony Towns told reporters after the game that he was dealing with a grade 2 quad strain, but said he didn't want to disappoint the passionate home fans in his New York debut. That's a really admirable mentality to have and shows Towns' competitive spirit and commitment to his new organization. So that was the full NBA Today breakdown of OG Anunoby's career-high tying All-Star performance and the Knicks' impressive 119-111 victory over the Cavaliers in Mike Brown's coaching debut, with the panel extremely optimistic about how different and deeper this team looks compared to previous season.